Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today we want to go over our top 5 favorite tropes to hopefully help you get out of a book slump. So we each chose 5 of our favorite tropes, which was very difficult, let me tell you. I have a lot of favorite tropes. They're not in any particular order. But before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway, and we are still giving away fun prizes as we try to make our way to 1,000 subscribers. So, Mandy, let's talk about our favorite tropes. What did you put down as one of your top favorite tropes?
Well, my top favorite all-time trope is age gap.
So. She's gonna find a way to get Birthday Girl into this video. I know she is, and here you go, folks.
Here it is, Birthday Girl. Jessica said that I could not pick 5 tropes that would just include Birthday Girl for all of them. So I have Birthday Girl. I just need to do a quick shout out. Carrie Ann Cole, I'm so sorry. Jessica would not let me do age gap more than once. And I read Birthday Girl first. That's the only reason that it is my number 1.
Yeah, so, it's all my fault.
So sorry, Carrie Ann Cole. Jessica's mean. So Birthday Girl is just the best book ever written. And that's really all you need to know. No. So this is age gap. I was also going to do Boyfriend's Dad so I could work Birthday Girl in here again, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
So Birthday Girl is about Jordan and Pike. And Jordan and Pike, they have such an amazing, I love how they meet first before they even know who each other's are. So it is Jordan's birthday and her boyfriend is just kind of a loser. Like Jordan is the glue that's keeping them like together, like a roof over their head, food on the table. He is just a slacker. He can never keep a job. And Jordan just works and works and works and is just trying to provide for them and keep things going. And he is supposed to pick, her boyfriend's supposed to pick her up after work one night and he doesn't show up. So she goes down to the movie theater to watch an old film. And through a series of embarrassing events, she ends up meeting this guy there. And he's a little bit older, but he's really good looking. He's nice. It's just a really kind of cute meet cute of how they meet. And they leave the theater together afterwards. And what do you know? It turns out that Pike is Jordan's boyfriend's dad. And Pike has kind of, I don't know if a strange relationship is the right word, but they don't have a great relationship through a whole series of events that really wasn't Pike's fault. And Pike is trying to bridge this gap and really form a relationship with his son. And he takes them in because they're going to lose their apartment because his son really struggles. And then he starts to really feel for Jordan because he realizes like his son is kind of a loser and doesn't treat her right. And we just go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is a good book. You just can't use it for everything. I love it. There are other books out there.
If you say so.
Okay.
Yes, you're right. Torn. Don't kiss the bride. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jessica. What's your favorite trope?
One of my favorite tropes, pretty much probably is my top favorite trope, but we could change that out tomorrow. It's fine. Is mafia or organized crime. And so I chose Violent Delights by Jessica Hawkins. This is actually my signed copy. So this one is a trilogy. And I love me some mafia. Oh, let me tell you. This is actually the cartel, not necessarily mafia. Cartel just happens in Mexico, so it's all good. So this is about Natalia. And when Natalia is young, she sees her mom die. She sees her mom get murdered. She is the heiress to the cartel. Her dad is the big cartel dude. And so she's, been brought up in this. There's 2 soldiers, they're brothers, Cristiano and Diego. And she and Diego are closer in age, and she's always believed that she is going to marry Diego. But when her mom dies, she points the finger at the person who she believes had killed her mom, who she thinks that she saw kill her mother. And that starts this chain of events. So then Cristiano is like flees because she pointed the finger at him, and she and Diego can move on with their relationship as they get older. She's been away at school in the States, and so she comes home, and it's been like 11 years later, and their compound is attacked, and Cristiano shows back up, and he decides that in order to get revenge, he's going to take her as his wife. And that is where we go with this story. So there is this, like, you fall in love with Diego, but yet Cristiano is that bad boy, and they're brothers, and you just have, like, it's a trilogy, so you got 3 books, but there's so much as to, like, who killed the mom? Was it Cristiano? Was it somebody else? What's really going on here? Like, there's a lot of mystery, there's a lot of intrigue. It's one of those where you can't trust anybody when you're reading this book. Like, you think you know what's happening, and then something else happens. So that is my recommendation for Mafia.
I really like Jessica Hawkins. I don't know how I haven't read her Mafia books.
I know. These are the only ones she has. And I think that they're known, but I don't think they're as, like, widely known as, like, Cora Riley's Mafia and, like, you know, those bigger ones. So good. So good. I only have the first of the 3. I need the other 2 books. I
need to go read those.
I want to reread. And it's been like almost 3 years since I read them, and they still stick with me. I can tell you what happens.
That's good.
So that's good. I like Jessica Hawkins.
Okay.
Yeah. So what's your next trope?
My next trope is Amnesia.
Shocker.
I love a good Amnesia book.
I know, a good Amnesia book. Yeah.
I wonder if there is an Amnesia age gap romance.
I'm sure there is. If not, somebody write one. We have a couple authors that follow us. Somebody write one.
Okay, so my trope is Amnesia, and my recommendation for this one is Help Me Remember by Corinne Michaels. This is probably my favorite Amnesia book because sometimes it's a trope that is hard to find good Amnesia books. So this is about Brielle. She wakes up in the hospital and finds out her brother is dead. She is the only witness to what happened to him. And she has no idea. She has no memory of this event. And in fact, she's actually lost a year or 2 in there. And so because she's the only witness to what happened to her brother, it is really important that the people around her don't try and fill in any gaps and that her memory just kind of comes back on its own. Spencer is her brother's best friend, and he's an investigative reporter. And so he agrees to help her try and go through things and just maybe piece back together some things that have happened and get her memory back. Also, because of the circumstances surrounding her brother, they don't really want to leave her alone. They want, like, somebody to kind of be with her to make sure she's being protected. So the more her and Spencer spend time together trying to piece back things, the more and more Brielle is like, I don't know if I want to remember. I'm kind of liking Spencer here. I'm feeling some attraction. And then she starts to think, like, is he kind of attracted to me as well? Like, is something going on here? Am I imagining this? And so she really starts to think, like, I'm not sure I want to get my memories back. And then she finds her engagement ring hidden in some of her stuff, and she has no idea who gave it to her. It is so good.
Mm-hmm. I love a good Amnesia story. Yeah. Okay. So my next trope is survival romance. And this could be like survival as in the apocalypse or just survival, but we're going to go with survival this time around. And so I chose Unseen Messages by Pepper Winters. This book is everything to me. It really is. So this is about Estelle and Galloway. So Estelle has hit like YouTube stardom. Her friend posted a picture of her. She's a singer-songwriter, so her friend posted a video of her singing. And so she has been in the States. She's from Australia, and she's been in the States over the summer doing a tour for her fans. And now she is on her way home via Fiji. So she boards the plane in LA. When she gets on the plane, there's a little bit of confusion because there's a family that has a husband and wife and a little boy and a little girl, and they all have the same last name as her. And so there's some, discussion about that. And then she also meets Galloway. Now, Galloway has a past, and he has a very troubled past, and he's trying to rectify that. And he has been he's from the UK, and he's been working for a guy as an apprentice in the States doing carpentry work. And so he is actually traveling from LA to Fiji to work as to help build some houses down there. It's like a humanitarian thing that he's doing before he goes home to the UK. And so this book is all about the unseen messages that we don't pay attention to, that we all have messages, there's messages that come all the time. So as Estelle is getting to the airport, her ticket is messed up. It's been canceled. So then she has to get it reinstated. Then she has problems at TSA. Then she has problems with customs. And then she has problems getting on the plane. And so there's all of these things that are happening. And she says, if I just paid attention to the messages, what would have happened? Because they get to Fiji, but then something else happens and they crash land on the island. And she and Galloway survive, as well as a couple others. And this is their story. The thing of it is they're on the island and nobody knows. A lot of the times with these types of books, you'll be like, oh yeah, he was a survival expert, and so they were able to do this, and then they found the spring of fresh water. That doesn't happen in this book. There is no spring of fresh water. He's not a survivalist. He's actually injured, and so she has to take care of him, and she has to figure this stuff out. And she's just a girl from Australia. She's a young girl from Australia. She doesn't know how to survive, and so this is their story. It's a thick one, but so good. It made me cry. And we know that I do not cry in books. Sobbed like a baby. So, yeah, this is the one that when you called me, I was like, I can't talk. I just finished my book. That never happens. Normally when you call it, I'm in the middle of the book. I'm like, I'm in the middle of the book. What do you want? We do that to each other, though. So good. Okay.
That's very aggressive.
I did. I was a mess. That book messed me up. It was so good. I mean, obviously it ends on an HEA, but I was thinking about it as I was washing windows the other day, and I was like, oh, I gotta stop thinking about this because it was getting me all verklempt. So.
All right. My next trope is fake dating.
Shocker.
I know. I love fake dating. Normally, you only find fake dating in college and high school. Sometimes more YA. So this book is it is YA probably because they're in high school, but I absolutely loved it. So I'm still going to talk about it. It Was Always You by Judy, Corry. And this is Lexi. She's a little bit nerdy. It's also a brother's best friend trope. And her brother's best friend, Noah, she has been crushing on him for some time. So she decides that she needs to just kind of move on from this crush on Noah. And so she's trying to kind of have a crush with this other boy in class. She's flirting with him, and she thinks that they're going to go to the movies together. So she shows up to the movies, and surprise, that's not what's happening. He's actually there on a date with another girl. Noah is there, and he sees this whole scene kind of unfolding. And just before Lexi is about to be mortifiedly embarrassed in front of Noah and his date and a bunch of other kids from their high school, he walks over and he's like, there you are, and pretends that they're on a date. And Noah is a hot, popular guy in high school. So this is really going to throw people off. What's Noah doing with Lexi type thing? And they decide to keep this up for a while so that people actually buy the story that Lexi and him are dating. So they're going to fake date. During this time, some things are happening, and it's just so incredibly sweet. My favorite part is that Noah has a really bad home life, and he is sleeping in his car, and it's freezing out, and Lexi finds him. So she brings him back to her house and lets him sleep in her closet. She doesn't want her dad to find a boy sleeping in her room, even though it's her brother's best friend. He doesn't want his brother or her brother to know about this, what's really going down in his home life. So it's such a good book. I loved it.
There you go. Okay, so my next one is unable to communicate was what I wrote down for the trope. So this is whether or not like someone's heart, has hearing loss, or they're deaf, or they don't speak the same language, something to that, something at least to that. But I chose My Torin by K Webster. This book is just different than anything I've ever read before. This is about Cassie. Now, Cassie has had a really hard life. Her last name is actually Doe, like as in Jane Doe, because she's been in the system. I think she was abandoned as a baby, if I remember correctly. Do not quote me on that, but I'm 99% sure that's what happened. So she is actually just waiting till she turns 18 to try and just get the heck out of town where she lives. She just wants to, start her life. And she has a chance encounter one day with a penny on the sidewalk. And she meets Tyler and his brother Torin. Now, Torin is not able to communicate, and I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to tell you why or what's happening. You will learn that when you read the book, but he is completely unable to communicate. We hear his thoughts in his head, but he is unable to get it out in words. And so this is their story. She's Tyler and Torin. Tyler is very well off, and he kind of takes her in, and things move and progress with the brothers. It's just, I can't tell you much more because you have to read it. There's videos linked, like K Webster links videos where she got the inspiration from this at the end of the book, especially I think on the Kindle edition, it is linked. So I definitely recommend watching those videos. It really opened my eyes to a few things, but so good. Very emotional, very heartbreaking, very, very good. And it's a little bit different than what we get from K Webster. Normally we get a lot of taboo. This wasn't so taboo, really. I mean, yeah, but definitely check triggers. Just remember, check triggers on all my books, always.
So my next trope is hockey. I'm calling it a trope. Instead of sports, I'm going with hockey. I love hockey romances, and there are so many good ones. I really struggled on which one to pick, and I just settled on Puck Me Secretly by Odette Stone. And this is number 1 in the Vancouver Wolf series. The reason I went with this one is because I love the rest of the books that I've read in this series. I've not finished it, but the next ones after this book are also fantastic. So that's why I picked this one. So this starts with Max. He's a hockey player, and like your typical hockey player, he has kind of a bad boy reputation, and things have not been going well for him, and he's been traded to another team, and he's not happy about it, but this is kind of like his chance to change things, so he really has to be on his best behavior. So he's on a plane heading to Vancouver. Also on this plane is Rory. And Rory is reluctantly heading to Vancouver as well to go work for her father. They are seated next to each other on the plane, and turbulence happens, and Rory starts freaking out because this isn't just like a little bumpy, like this is like scary stuff is happening on this plane. And she starts freaking out and just basically word vomiting, like, I've never been in love. I've never had an orgasm to Max. And Max is trying to calm her down, and he's like, if we get I don't even think he says if, I think he says, when we get out of this, I will give you an orgasm. And she's like, what? Oh, okay. Well, they crash land in this cornfield out in the middle of nowhere. And after they're finally, checked out and taken to a hotel, Max fulfills his promise, and then he disappears on her. Well, we are now at the Vancouver Wolverines hockey arena, and Max is reporting as a hockey player, and Rory is there because that is where she works. And ta-da! There they are.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good. So good. And like I said, the books that come after this are just as good. In fact, the second or third book might be like one of my like favorite books.
Odette Stone is a great author. I even liked her Mafia ones. So, yes.
Look at you throwing Mafia in whenever you can.
Always. I mean, it's not Birthday Girl, but it is Mafia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I cannot figure out how to work Birthday Girl into hockey.
You can't. Doesn't work.
When we were planning this, I told Jessica, I'm like, I'm going to have age gap and then boyfriend's dad and then like construction worker.
You were going to try and fit it in for every single trope. Mm-hmm. Okay, so my next trope is Captor Captive. I love me some Captor Captive. So I actually chose Deliver from Pam Godwin. This is the bind-up of the first 3 books in that series. The first book is definitely Captor Captive, and it's a little bit different because the main male character is the captive. So this is about Liv and Josh. So Josh is a college football player. He plays for a Baptist college. He is like the town's, like the good old boy. Like he's taking care of his parents. He's, you know, just good. He's a virgin. So he's a good boy. He's a very good boy. And then we have Liv. Now, Liv has gotten into something that she cannot really get out of. She is a part of a duo that will kidnap and train sex slaves for the buyers that want to buy them. And then they're delivered to whoever the buyers are. And so Liv has to train Josh. So they kidnap Josh, her and the accomplice, and then she has to train Josh in the way that the buyer wants him to be trained. And so this is their story. There's a lot that unfolds. There's a lot that happens. This actually sets up the whole series. It is so yummy and hot. The buyer wants him to be a virgin, though. So, I mean, you know, what happens there? But it's very dark. It's extremely dark. It's probably the darkest thing that Pam Godwin has written, and that is saying something. So definitely check triggers, but love me some Captor Captive.
I am really questioning you.
I do also have to say, typically, you can question me all you want, but it's all good. This book is typically free on Amazon, because it's the first book in the series. Pam Godwin often has it as a free book. So just to put that out there. You can read it for free, then get addicted to the rest of the series, and there's like 8 books in the series. So you're welcome. All right, next.
Okay, my next trope is going to be romantic suspense. I enjoy that suspense. I kind of like a good mystery sometimes, and so the romantic suspense is always, you know, right up my alley usually. And so I picked Unravel by Calia Reed. Really enjoyed this book. So this is about Naomi. Naomi is in a mental institution. Naomi is telling us that she is not crazy, but she's in a mental institution. She's also starting to question her own sanity. And there's somebody in her room talking to her. The nurse comes in and assures her nobody else is in the room. So when that happens, as the reader, we have to start to question, like, can we believe her? Is she really like sane? Like she's trying to convince us, or what is happening here? And she has some like flashbacks to a Max that she loves, a Lachlan that she's in love with, and Lana, who was her best friend. And we have to try, as the reader, to make sense of all of this from the viewpoint of somebody who is currently in a mental institution. I loved this book. I loved the love story. I loved the power of love in this story. It was fantastic. Fantastic. And with romantic suspense, you really can't give much more than just a little tiny snippet, or you're getting too much into the plot. But it's such a different way to do romantic suspense too, because you don't know, like, can I actually trust her point of view? Can I trust her? Because she's in a mental institution right now, and we don't know why.
Right. And it was just so good. The reveal into the end. Oh my gosh, it was just so good.
It was fantastic.
Love Calia Reed. Love Calia. It's amazing. So, okay, so for my very last trope, Mandy is not going to be surprised by this. I chose alien romance. Shocker. I did not choose the big blue guys, though, because we always talk about the big blue guys. So I chose Captive of the Horde King by Zoey Draven. She's laughing at me. So this one is about Luna. So this is where we've left Earth. There was, for whatever reason, many, many, many years ago, and a ship of humans landed or crash landed on the planet of Dakar. And we've been living in they've been living in settlements on this land for many, many years. And they have rules. The Dakari people have rules about what you can and can't do. You have to hold the land in this like high regard because of their gods that they worship. And so one of the things you cannot do is set fire to the land. You cannot have fire on the ground. And Luna's brother actually sets fire to their crops because he wants it to, make the soil better. And he heard about that, so that's what he does. Well, it brings the Dakari Horde warriors to their encampment. And instead of letting the brother get in trouble, she stands up and says, no, it was me. And so the Horde king, so there's these hordes on the planet that travel around and have their own camps. There's like 7 of them or something. This Horde warrior sees her and decides that instead of punishing her, he's going to take her with him to his encampment. And so she thinks she's going to be punished. She thinks she's going to be killed. And that's not what happens. He takes her to make her his queen. And so this is their story of what happens between her and Ericon. And like, it's kind of a combination of 2 of my favorite tropes, which you've got alien and then barbarian. And that's totally a barbarian story as well, because they live in these big encampments, which I picture like Game of Thrones Dothraki type situation. And that's what it really feels like. So I loved it. That's one of my favorite alien romances. I read it all the time. So have we done your top one?
Yeah, we did all 5.
Okay.
Remember? Birthday Girl. Birthday Girl does not fit under alien.
No, it doesn't. No. Okay, everybody. That is all that we have for you today. Hopefully one of these books will get you out of your book slump if you are in one. But either way, these are some of our favorite tropes.
Make sure to check back. I'm so distracted by my books. Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next one.